If you just bought a drone and you want to learn how to fly it safely, today I want to give you some of the basics so that you can go out and have a great first flight and hopefully not crash your first drone. Before we jump into flying the drone for the first time, the first thing you want to do is turn the controller on, and we want to understand how the controller works. Now there's a few basics that we need to understand. Is this stick on the left side here is the one that basically the drone stays in the same position but moves up or down or turns left or right, but it stays above the position wherever it's hovering at that time. So if you push up, the drone will go up. If you push down, it'll go down. If you turn to the left, it'll go left. If you turn to the right, it'll go right. So that's the basics of movements on this side. This side, the right stick, is a little bit different. This is the one that actually makes the drone move forward, backward, or left to right relative to whatever the position it took off of. So if you push left, the drone is going to slide left. If you push right, the drone will slide right. If you push up, the drone will move forward. And if you push down, the drone will move backward. Those are the basics of all the controls, and everything we're going to do today revolves around those things. If you remember, this is up, down, and left and right. So if you push up, the drone's going to go up. If you push down, the drone's going to come down. And then if you push it to the left, the drone will turn left. If you push it to the right, the drone will turn right. But all of that is staying in the same position that the drone took off in. It's not moving forward or backward. And then when we come to the right stick, if you push left, the drone slides left. If you push right, the drone slides right. And I'll get it back here in the center. And then if you push forward, the drone moves forward. And if you push backward, the drone moves backwards. Now that's relatively easy, but when you turn the drone around and have it facing towards you, everything on this stick and the left and right on this stick has just become the opposite. And so this takes a little more time and a little more practice, but that's all you need is a lot of practice if you've never flown drones before. So again, remembering that when you push these sticks, this is forward, backward, left, right, and then turning right and turning left on the left side here. You just want to remember that it's going to respond the opposite of what you think because it's now facing you. So the way to do that is just very slowly and very gently move the drone to the left, to the right, maybe a little forward, a little backward. Up, down is of course still the same, and then turning left to right. All you're really doing is building muscle memory. And so the way to do this is keep an eye on the drone. Don't get stuck looking at your screen all the time, but keep an eye on the drone as it's flying and do these motions over and over and over again, and you'll be a pro in no time, because what you want to do is build the muscle memory so that you don't have to think about it as much. And that just takes a little bit of time and a little bit of practice. And then as you get more practice, you can combine the motions together to do things like orbit, like what I'm doing right now, which is where the drone is moving around me, the subject, and keeping me somewhat in the center of the frame or on a third, because that's kind of where I want it. As I'm moving around, I'm keeping my subject, and this is where you do want to keep an eye on the screen, but also check on your drone to make sure you're not going to run into anything, because obstacles do appear out of nowhere. And just get a nice smooth motion around your subject as you go. It takes practice. You're combining two different controls. Don't try this until you've gotten a lot of practice with the single controls.
Hello and welcome. Today we're looking at the UDI RC U49C Red Heron drone from Force One. This is a wide-angle lens 720p HD camera drone that has altitude hold, headless mode, out of range and low battery alarms. It has a long flight time along with auto takeoff, auto land, and plenty of other neat features. So let's check it out. Now, taking a closer look at the drone, this is a very interesting looking drone that I believe comes in two colors, red and blue. And this is the red model that says UDI RC there at the top. And this is a brushed motor quadcopter that has this duct or propeller guard design around it. And as you can see, it's a bit wiggly, but it does the job and protects the propellers while not interfering too much with the flight characteristics. And they have these rubbery stoppers. Now, taking a look here at the battery, It has a very spacious battery bay and has these pretty large 7.4 volt 1000 milliamp LiPo batteries. And it charges with the included proprietary charge cable that we have right here. And you would simply connect this portion right here to the top part of the battery. Just simply slide it in and make sure the connectors make contact. And then you have the USB portion that has a light indicator on it, and it will charge for around an hour to an hour and a half to fully charge the battery. And it provides the quadcopter with around a 15-minute flight time per battery, and there are 2 batteries included with the drone. And then you would simply slide it back in like so and snap it into place. And now with the battery inserted, let's activate the drone to look at the bright LEDs underneath the quadcopter. And as you can see, they're very bright and colorful with these red and green LEDs. So very good for orientation or an early evening flight. And then you would simply keep the button pressed to either turn on or off the drone. And so now let's take a closer look at its transmitter. And now looking here at the top, we have a couple of foldable antennas, but they are just for looks as there is no wiring running to them. And there's also a mobile device holder that would normally come out from the top, but since this is the camera version and not the Wi-Fi version, it's not there. And now looking at the controls a bit, we have the left throttle stick followed by the right rudder stick. And then we have our on-off switch here at the center. And then here on the lower left, we have our headless mode button. And then here on the lower right, we have our auto takeoff and auto land button. 1 tap to take off and 1 tap to land. Here on the upper left, we have the video button, and here is the photo button to take photos or videos. Here is the high or low rates of speed, 2 rates of speed denoted by beeps. And here's the trim button where you would press that and then adjust the controls to adjust the quadcopter's trim. So that's essentially it for the controls. Now the transmitter will beep if either the aircraft is out of range or if it loses contact with the controller. So that's a pretty neat feature. Also, this transmitter provides the quadcopter with around 100 to 120 meters worth of range. So now let's take a closer look at setting this up for a first-time flight. Now, setting up for a first-time flight is very straightforward. Once you have a fully charged battery inserted into the drone and a fresh set of batteries inserted into the transmitter, you would proceed to activate the drone by keeping its on-off button pressed for a few seconds towards the rear of the drone until you see the LEDs start to blink. At that point, you would turn on the transmitter and bind the transmitter to the drone by moving its left throttle stick up and down like so. Now you should see the lights go solid, and now the aircraft is bound to the controller. A recommended next step is to calibrate the drone's gyros by moving both sticks down and to the right when you see the LEDs start to blink. Make sure this is done at the ground level with the drone still and not moving. And so now everything's been bound and calibrated, and now you can start the motors in idle by moving both sticks down and to the center. And once the motors are on, you could provide some altitude and move the left throttle stick up a bit, and you can take off from there. So that's essentially the first time setup. Let's take it up for a spin and see how she performs.